I just think that no one care about me.
Yeah.
I even remember that when I was 9 years old, I asked my auntie, "Am I adopted?"
Okay.
At 9 years old, I already had that feeling. And she was very, very shocked. She didn't give me an answer and kept me in suspense that make me wonder, is it really
I
I'm
just
adopted? I just dive into it.
Uh-huh.
No financial literacy, don't know what is cash flow. Back then, no social media. I stand at MRT to give out flyers.
Yeah.
And when people discard my flyers in the trash can, I go pick it up. You know why? Because one piece is 5 cents.
Yes.
And yes,
Very
that's why when I see female entrepreneurs, I try to support them. And I always tell people, female support female. I know how tough it is.
Stories podcast. I'm Amir.
And I am Liang.
We are the hosts of Ground Zero Stories. At Ground Zero Stories, we don't interview people about success after it happens.
At Ground Zero Stories, we talk about uncomfortable part, the seasons before the wins and before the applause. Before the story sounds neat, we explore the moments of doubt, decision, pressure, and perseverance. Because real success is built long before it looks obvious.
So this is Ground Zero Stories brought to you by Divergent Training Private Limited, where we empower growth through our 4D success framework. Discover, dream, develop, and deliver, helping individuals and organizations unlock potential and move ideas into action. Today, here in our studio, we are privileged to be joined by Adeline. And Adeline is a founder of Ministry of Public Speaking.
And Aline works with professionals to build confidence, clarity, and presence through communication. Her work focuses on helping individuals speak with authenticity, impact, and especially in the moments that shape leadership, relationships, and long-term growth. And now we have with us Adeline.
Thank you for having me, Emil and Liang.
Okay, so Adeline, can you share a little bit more about yourself, perhaps a bit about your background? What do you do before you actually founded Ministry of Public Speaking?
Wow. Immediately before I became an entrepreneur, I was a public servant for 12 years. I served in one of the agency, and prior to that, I was an entrepreneur for a language center for 3 years. And before that, nobody believed that I was a regional IT manager for many, many years.
We actually got to know that back then, long ago, when you were in school, right? You were actually known as a shy person. Can you share a bit more about that and how you eventually break through and eventually be someone who coaches and teaches people about public speaking?
I'm born in a big family. There's 6 of us. I'm the 3rd child.
Okay.
Have you heard of middle child syndrome?
Yes.
So at that time, our time, I don't know that is middle child syndrome, but I felt very neglected. I even remember that when I was 9 years old, I asked my auntie, "Am I adopted?"
Okay.
At 9 years old, I already had that feeling. And she was very, very shocked. She didn't give me an answer and kept me in suspense that make me wonder, is it really I'm adopted? Because I'm the 3rd in the family and I'm the one that can study, right, who will produce good results. So there was high expectations. I went to a SAP school. At that time, going to a SAP school without any tuition, coming from that kind of background was a very big deal. So I'm like the glory, right, of the family. However, being a middle child, I wasn't given much attention. My needs are often neglected or overlooked to the point that I felt very small, very invisible. And even in school, I already felt that kind of ostracizing. You know, back then, there's no social media, so you don't know that is called bullying.
Yes.
Or, basically people just don't play with me. And you know why? Because during recess, I have to go look for my 2 younger brothers. My mom will instruct me that you must make sure that there's 6 of us, right? I'm the middle. So I got 1 more younger sister, 2 younger brothers. We all in the primary school. So we are like ladder like that,
Yeah.
9, 8, 7, 6. So my mom said, make sure that you find your younger sister, your 2 younger brothers, make sure they are fed.
Okay.
So being the very compliant, obedient sister, I always go hunt for them. And these naughty siblings, they will be somewhere in the playground playing. I had to hunt for them, bring them to the canteen to buy food. And I didn't get a chance to eat. I remember one time I went back to class late and I was caned.
Okay.
Back then, it's very, very strict. If you're given 20 minutes for recess, you have to go back to class on time. Otherwise, you line up and to be caned. So you can imagine that with all this going on and growing up in adolescence, you don't have friends. I was very inferior, and I just think that no one care about me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So what went through your life, that made you who you are today, that you can exude that kind of confidence and speak with that kind of clarity?
So I remember that when I was, again, 9 years old in primary 3, there was this storytelling competition, and the teacher said that, okay, who would want to try, right? And of course, nobody put out a hand, right? And the teacher said, okay, you can just read out from one of your recent composition. And I don't know why I put out my hand, because I was back then very, very strong in Chinese. And this was a Chinese storytelling competition. So I went out there to recite one of my Chinese composition. I still remember the composition. I don't know why I remember, so I got very good phenomenal memory.
Okay.
I can regurgitate word for word because I wrote it myself. And I memorized it. I memorized what I wrote. So it was so impressive. And I think also because no other kids volunteered, I was picked to represent the class.
Okay.
And I got second in the whole school.
Okay.
Subsequently, I realized that, hey, this is the only thing that people know about my existence. So, and because I did it once, you start from P3, then P4, P5. So every year I represent the class in English and in Chinese competition. And I realized that this is the only thing I do well, that only chance I get to be on stage.
Okay.
And I like that feeling. I like it. But when I went to secondary school, I'm no longer that popular one. No
Yeah.
longer that one that shine, because this is a SAP school. Everyone is a talent. So the talent sort of got buried until, of course, when I went to work. Every time there's a chance to do presentation, I love it. Every time there's a chance to do training, I love it. But I'm not the chatty kind of person. I just like to present in my own style. Yeah. So if you ask me, how was that journey? It's a very, very long journey. In fact, it dated back to more than 10 years ago. It was in a GE general election. Back then, I already joined public service. And it was the first time that I represent public service to be part of the general election. And, I was talking to other peers who are from other ministry. And this particular lady, she was a grassroots. And when we were chatting, maybe she just liked my style or vibes. She asked me whether I'm interested to volunteer at her CC to become a volunteer trainer. So this is my first foray into training. So I started that journey, and I love it because, not many people dare to train other residents. So I went there, and subsequently they asked, we are short of MC, because, CC, they don't have budget. We are short of MC. And I remember my first MC engagement was EduSave Awards, where I just read out names.
Okay.
And even that, I had so much joy. And I remember when I was doing the EduSave Award, I told the people in charge that I don't want to just be an MC that read out the names. I want all the awardees, all the students to stand up, to turn and face their parents and bow and say thank you, because it is with the family support that they are able to be there on stage. And then I realized that, I really enjoy doing these sort of things. So subsequently, when they get me to do more MCs for countdown, to do lucky draw, I seize all opportunities. I'm not good at it. And all these experiences made me realize that, there are areas I need to improve. Then I went to join the MC Academy to hone my skills and learn under Flying Dutchman and Chris Hansen.
Oh.
And
nice.
that was my journey to become an MC, and I took on more gigs. after that, I feel that I still need to improve. So I joined Toastmasters. And I think that, okay, I want to become a professional trainer. Then I took up advanced diploma, I took up NLP, I took up drama strategies. As you could say that in order to teach others, I start by teaching myself first. And of course, along the way, when people know about me, they will ask me whether I am okay to teach this, especially in Toastmasters. I'm the appointed speechcraft trainer. So I get to run many classes to teach people how to speak well. And since we're all volunteers, right, no one is going to come after me for my content, but I take pride in preparing robust, comprehensive curriculum, and I evolve the versions all the time. And I think that's how it kind of grounded me and gave me a very solid start. Over time, I receive more and more testimonials where people come to me and say how they have changed, how they have transformed, how they find me as a trainer so different from other trainers. And I think, okay, my first biggest breakthrough is I was at this training class. And as always, I don't know about their background. But among them, there was this chief people officer, or you call it the HR person.
Okay.
She was one of the trainee. Of course, I didn't know, right? And as always, I just do it as my best. And she came to me and said, Adeline, you are one of the most authentic trainer that I've ever encountered. And subsequently, she reached out to me, get her staff to call me to train her company.
Okay.
And you could say that probably kickstart the whole journey that actually people do see me, recognize me, and pay for my skills. Yep.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So interesting story because that means you have been a trainer from the get-go, from the time you
Yes.
actually finished school. Okay, and that was basically
No,
your entire
I was
career?
regional. I was IT trained.
Oh, okay.
Why I chose IT? Remember my family background. Back then, you are talking about in the late 1990s, right? Where the only way to put the most food on
yeah.
table is either IT, HR, or accountancy.
Okay.
And I chose IT. But to tell you the truth, that 10 over years was the most miserable part of my journey. Why? Because IT is not people facing. And I didn't enjoy any part of the work until I become a regional IT manager, where I have to liaise with the CFO, the CEO, and then I become really the people person. So all these are the backgrounds.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't start off with training. However, when I was a regional IT manager, every time there's a presentation, I got very excited.
Okay.
And every time the company said, oh, you want to do a leadership training or team building training, I will volunteer.
I see.
No, you can sense, in the room, you can definitely sense that, you are someone that is loves to speak, like to
Yeah.
interact with people and stuff like that. And through your sharing that, you share with us, actually it was quite opportunistic, whereby you were invited to take up gigs and then to train.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, not everyone that is a good student can then progress to become a good teacher.
Yes.
And then in this case, you surpass all of the expectation and, you over-deliver. But what I really like to know is that, what you shared is that there were right people that appeared at the right time to bring you to what you love to do today. As an entrepreneur, how important do you think is the environment and the network that you are in?
I always tell people when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. For that question, I have to bring you back to more than 16 years ago, many years ago, when I was a regional IT manager. Then I got burnout, right?
Yeah.
I got burnout. I quit a high-flying job. And guys, back then I was already earning 5-figure.
Okay.
Before 2010, in my 30s, I was already earning 5-figure. And it was a very big deal back then. So when I quit my job, nobody understand me. Why I quit such a good job that is paying me so much money. But I was burned out and I decided to follow my passion. And the passion was open a language center. And a Chinese language center. Remember, back in primary school, I was very, very strong in Chinese. And at that time, and of course today, kids are generally weak in mother tongue.
Yes.
And I think that they have to be taught differently. And back then, my two girls were very young. I'm already teaching them Chinese very differently using homeschool curriculum. So I wanted to, very, very idealistic. I say, okay, I have this amount of savings. I want to open this language school. Then I just dive into it. No financial literacy. Don't know what is cash flow. Back then, no social media. I stand at MRT to give out flyers.
Yeah.
And when people discard my flyers in the trash can, I go pick it up. You know why? Because one piece is 5 cents.
Yes.
Very, like Liang, you understand, right? People throw away when no one is looking. I go pick up the flyers.
Yeah.
So those were the days. In that 3 years, I almost become bankrupt. I lost $250,000. And that's how I ended up going back to public service. And your question is about how the
Network
networking.
environment.
And I attribute today, when I become an entrepreneur, the second time, given the second lease of life, it is so much different. I attribute it to the community that I have, the doors that have been opened for me. And you say that I seem to meet the right people, but it wasn't true in my first business. I met no one. No one came for my rescue. All I met was landlord coming after me, people coming after me for money, my teachers coming after me. There's no one to support. I was very, very lonely. I gave up not because I think I'm not capable. I gave up because all my resources are dried up, whether it's money, whether it's people. And of course, back then, my husband is not supportive at all, right? So, yeah. So if you ask me, really, networking, the partnership is very, very important. In fact, in the last 2 years, in a short span of just 6 months, I opened 2 more companies, and I'm sure there's more to come. And it's all because of networking opportunities, the people that I met, people whom I think I'm credible enough, reliable enough to partner with. So I'm very, very thankful for that.
So you mentioned when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? Why do you think at that point of time, in the first time you had run your entrepreneurship journey, you did not get, or perhaps a teacher did not appear? Like,
Yeah.
why do you think as a student you were not ready at that point of time?
At that time, there aren't a lot of resources to read about. I just know that I want to get out of a toxic environment. And I want to do something. As you could see, I also got itchy backside syndrome, cannot sit down, and must do something, right? And opening a language center seems to be the natural thing to do. So I got a franchise and I started it. I didn't ask for a mentor. I just think that, hey, I'm good lah. People will come and find me. Right, people go to this Chinese language center, that Chinese 老师, 百丽果. I'm as good. I'm very confident. People will know me. I just be there. I just have to teach the students. The teachers will know how good I am. But the students didn't come. The enrollment was low. Even there's enrollment, there's no loyalty. Because every time after exam, there will be a big shuffle. You will lose the students, new student will come, there's no loyalty. And just keep repeating. And after 3 years, it's just so exhausting. So yes, I wasn't ready. I didn't even do any research. It's just based on passion. So that's why today when I coach young people, when they tell me they want to quit their job, the first thing I always tell them is, wait, what do you want to do? Because I don't want them to repeat the same mistake like me, thinking that, hey, I just quit lah because I'm tired. Because 6 months down the road, when you look at your bank account slowly decreasing, I tell you, even you tell me there's a very toxic environment, I will crawl back just to have steady income month after month.
I think, thank you for bringing this point up, in front of cameras, behind these glorious, successful businessmen, entrepreneurs, often there are, many others that were buried underneath, or even before you succeeded, there are so many things that you have gone through. So like you rightly put it, passion will let you start a business,
Yes.
but it
Not
doesn't help you sustain a business. And you mentioned financial literacy. What are some other important points that is required to help you sustain a business?
Oh, so many things you have to learn as an entrepreneur, especially if you just started out, you don't have a lot of resources. There's so many things that you have to learn on your own. You need to know that the financial literacy is number one, a big thing. There's a lot of bureaucracy that you have to, right, navigate. You have to know how to do outreach. You have to know how to do marketing. Back then, there's no social media, right? So you have to rely on your own network. How do you broadcast? Right, where are the funnels? Where are the channels? Today, there's so much choices. Today, there's so many masterclass. In fact, we are all spoiled for choices. There's so many guru out there that you can tap on their experience and knowledge. My time is, I figured everything in the dark on my own. I don't even have peers per se, like, oh, if I can go to another language center and ask, hey, how to be successful, right? Because we are all rivals, right? Basically, I don't have a business mentor, though I don't have a coach. And today, I think that is so, 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 so important to have someone who can coach you, who understand. They don't have to understand your business, but you can spar idea with them. They can be your sounding board. Yes, because we cannot do everything by ourselves. So, yes, so networking, outreach, marketing, so many things that you have to know as an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Before we go on further about the technicalities about building a business, because as we know, this is ground zero stories, right? You mentioned $250,000 in the hole.
Yes.
At that point of time, how does that impact yourself, your family, your kids? Because, like for me personally, I have young kids, and like as we run through the business, when there's cash flow problems, it will definitely affect the resources that we can actually give them. Like we want to
Yep.
give them the best. We want to give them enrichment classes, go for all this additional enrichment that can actually get them ahead of their peers. But if we are running out of that resources, basically, like our kids won't be at the advantage point already. So how does that affect you as a mom, and how does that actually affect your kids?
I wouldn't say it's so much of my children, to be honest, because my husband is still working. And then earlier on, I mentioned about financial literacy, right? I find that now thinking back, right, I find that I'm so naive. Even when I was running business, as I shared with you, I was a high flyer, right, staying in a condominium. I was still spending as if I have a steady income of 5 figure. My daughter still wear branded. Thinking back, this is probably the number one mistake that I make. I wasn't prudent at all. I just look at my bank account as like, oh, there's so much, it's like a big reserve there. And I didn't even bother to look at it. Of course, one day when I look at it, then I realized that, oh no, it's not looking good. I wouldn't say my children are that much of impact. I have a helper looking after them. My husband was still working. But it took a very heavy toll on the relationship, on the marriage. What makes me drop everything? Actually, to be honest, I could continue with the business, no issue at all. Why? Because I was at the 3rd-year mark already. I was gaining traction. I have parents who come to me and tell me that, hey, Miss Yeo, I really love the way you teach my children. It's very different from other centers because I wrote my curriculum from scratch on my own. And what makes me drop this language center was my husband said this to me, and I still remember. He said, have you played enough? Have you played enough? And it shook me to a point that, what? Do you mean all this while you think I was just having fun in the playground where I was slogging away? I was putting in so many hours. I was working so hard. You didn't see that. All you see is, have you played enough. So it was with this disheartedness, it was with this resentment that I say, forget it. Forget it. It's not worth. So when people say that, hey, you could sell your language center, go find a buyer, but all this takes time. I was depressed to a point that it's okay. Forget it. Just terminate the lease, just drop everything. I don't care. Just disband the teachers. Like that, yeah. So that was how all the debts incurred, yeah.
Quick question. So, was it more of anger or was it more of disappointment?
Everything, I guess.
If you have to choose one, which one is more?
I think it's disappointment and then after that resentment. Why? I find that female entrepreneurs have this disadvantage, right? I think in the earlier episode, Liang talked about how he have the pillar of strength. And I was so tempted to ask that if you don't have this family support, can you still be as successful as you are today? And I know for good reason that it will not be. Because female entrepreneur, we are also a mother, we are a wife. That takes a lot of energy and time from us. So besides juggling the family, we have to juggle the business, which is like another family. So I was angry that you didn't see what I'm trying to build. At the same time, I'm also resentful because in my mind, if my husband or my loved one want to start a business, I'll be your back, right? I'll be supporting you because this is your dream, your aspiration. But I didn't get that kind of support. So yeah, it was disappointment and resentment as well.
So it's pretty much of, even a spouse don't understand you. The kind of, you mentioned quite a few times, understanding, support.
Yes.
So indeed, in entrepreneurship, your environment really is very important. The kind of guidance, training that you receive, mentorship. But I think we share in common, the very first business, the very first family, the one closest to your heart. How dare you not understand and support me?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and that's why I think you will feel how you feel, and rightly or stereotyping, we feel that even it's the 21st century, there are the stereotype male and the stereotype female characteristics and responsibilities like you shared. There are, female entrepreneurs are mothers.
Yes.
I'm still quite sure that you live up to a standard that you expect of your spouse. Maybe, I shared the male aspect of entrepreneurship. Why not you share about, as a female entrepreneur, what do you see in or need from your male counterpart at home? Your husband.
To be the missing parent. If I'm not at home, someone can be the chauffeur, someone can plan for meals. Now, of course, my daughter is so much older, right? She's super independent. But back then, they were just not even in primary school. One was in primary school. In the language tuition enrichment business, it often happened on weekend or weekday evening, right? So can you imagine, when I stood for 8 hours, I'll be so tired, right? I just want to go home and rest. But I have to plan for play dates for them, birthday parties, bring them to play dates, right? I still have to work around their schedule as if their mother never missed for a single moment, right? I have to make sure that all this happens. Do you know at that time I was below 50 kg? I was the slimmest in my life because, I have to juggle so many things, right? Basically, I put everybody's needs above me. I never think of what I need. My mind is always, okay, what do I have to plan for the business in the next 3 months? And subsequently, my family, I have to plan for their meals. I have to do marketing, cleaning, everything. So I have a lot of worry. You can say I'm a full-time mother, full-time housewife, full-time entrepreneur. So what do I expect? Basically, is to cover me when I'm absent. But no, I have to do 200% at home, 100% at home, 100% at work.
Then do you think as a 21st century female entrepreneur, does the society or does the male population, is it conducive for female entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so let me add on also. I think the reason why Liang also asked these questions because I think we are quite involved parents, right, and
Yes,
involved
both
husbands,
you
right,
are, yes.
and at the same time, it's because nowadays we are seeing more and more like it's a norm for the fathers to also
Chip in.
and also to help out.
Yes,
Whereas back
yes.
then, I know even my parents' time. My dad won't after work he will be like switched off.
Yes.
But then my mom also working a 9 to 5, but then she have to be a full-time mom.
Right.
Yeah. So like, do you think now this is very different?
Yes. First of all, kudos to both of you. When I look around me and I find male entrepreneurs who are also very committed and dedicated to the families, I'm often very heartened that they didn't neglect their family, which is the number one priority. And that's the reason why we work so hard, isn't it? And if you talk about today, female entrepreneurs, like men being more open-minded and being entrepreneurs sometimes, or having a side hustle. A lot of people are content creator while they're having a full-time job, and some of them are female. It's very important to have someone supportive of you so that you have a peace of mind when you're out there struggling, out there hustling. You have a peace of mind that someone is taking care of the children, someone taking care of the food, right? So I would say in today's landscape, things are slightly better for female, but you have to look at me that I'm still in that era whereby, yes, that I came from that era, and that's why I went back to public service for 12 years, and I only started to have the courage to try out entrepreneurship again at this late age. And I also want to show people that if I can do it in my age, anybody can. It doesn't mean that it's over for us, like the flower has withered. We should just stay home, blend into the scene, and be forgotten. We still can have a second lease of life. Yes.
Yeah, and what you shared just now, being a female entrepreneur and still expected to be the 100% mom, And I think it's a very traditional stereotype of a woman that is family first, giving
Yes.
all you have. So, you say you burn yourself out and stuff like that, and it hits, that nerve. So, how would you then, living through that, how would you prioritize and advise new entrepreneurs of self-care?
Wow. Self-care goes beyond just looking after yourself. Self-care has a lot to do with how do you take care of your inner feelings, your emotions, addressing your needs. Sometimes may not be going for a manicure or hair salon. Sometimes it could be just going out to the park to just reset, to just rejuvenate. I think for female entrepreneurs, it's doubly important that we take this time. Really, you have to put it into the calendar to commit yourself to make sure that that day is free for you to do nothing. And very important, don't feel guilty about it. And when you free yourself that day, it doesn't mean that you fill that day with social activities or you fill up that day with family activities. That means it's really dedicated to yourself. And to me, that is self-care. Yes. So even for male entrepreneurs, I think it's the same. In fact, I think it's sometimes male entrepreneurs, because they have to be that pillar of strength to the wife who deem as softer side, gentle side that you have to support. And as entrepreneur, I know that we have our fair share of struggles, but we don't share everything with them so that they don't worry. But yet we sleep lesser, we do more, and we don't want our partner to worry, so we don't confide so much. But we just suppress everything. Male also need an outlet. Male also need self-care. Yes, but maybe for you guys, it could be a drinking session to just talk it out. Yeah. So for me, I just have to go to a park. That will reset me. Yeah. So very important is you have to know how you can reset. Is it going out for a drink? Is it going to the park? Is it going to the gym? Everybody have different way of self-care and different way of resetting yourself. You have to find out what is that sweet spot for you. And you know that you go there, it's like you charge your handphone. Once you plug it on, you'll be fine after that. So for me, I found how I can overcome that. Yeah.
Right now, you are taking a second go on entrepreneurship, and you basically have to rebuild back everything from the ground, right? What are the things that you actually make sure that now it's a non-negotiable for you as a second-time entrepreneur that you have actually shared with your family members so that they will also know that they have to be your support system one way or another?
So for now, number one is your resources, which is your finance, and also a timeline, right? So for me now is I will park aside this amount of resources that I know I can burn, that will not tap on the family resources. And because now my daughters, they are so much older, they are super independent and they are super supportive. I kept them in the loop of what's going on, celebrate with them all my small wins. Yes, and also to have that clarity. Sometimes I feel that what I'm doing right is basically modeling the way for my daughters, being the strong woman and independent woman that you have to be. Yes. So to answer your question is really to have the confidence of the resources, not drawing on my family resources and the time, and still have to make time for the family, non-negotiable. And also to have the courage to seek help. I think when I failed in my first venture, I didn't tell anybody. I'm not sure why. Not really a pride thing, but nobody talk about it. So now I make sure that I have supportive community, someone that I know that they have my back. Very, very important. Yeah. So yes, I think a supportive community is super important, and it would be good if they're all entrepreneurs, all business owners, that they understand you. I remember I was at this business networking meeting, and this guy deemed quite successful. And I said, are there moments that you thought of giving up? He said, oh, so many times. At that moment, I felt like, wow, if he said that, then what I'm feeling is not new. I felt we can totally relate to one another. I felt this comfort that, suddenly I feel so supported. Yeah, so very important to have a supportive community.
And after what you've been through the first time, why do you still decide to be an entrepreneur?
Actually, to be honest, before I started the business, I thought of just retiring for good. I always tell people that I can just don't work. No, it's not that I'm super mega rich. It's not. I can just live simply. Is enough. And with my training, I don't have to do business. I can just be a freelance trainer. And I'm teaching part-time in a university. To me, is enough. Why do I want to go all the way out? I have this dream of setting up a foundation to help people, to help more parents, to help more children. In order to fund that foundation, number one, I need resources. All right. And also, I feel that there are still dreams that's unfinished. One of my wildest dreams back then when I started my first enrichment center is the company name is my mother's name. So she's no longer around. And the company name is Lee Yong Lam Private Limited, is my mother's name. So I wanted to do her proud. I wanted to, like this is like an unachievable dream, like NUS, you have that foundation. And I want one day to have this Lee Yong Lam Foundation that will give out scholarship, and it's under my mother's name. So there's this dream that I want to do her proud, because when she was around alive, I wasn't that successful. Not that today I'm successful, but I hope to have a successful version that wherever she is, she can be proud of me. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because she had a really hard life when none of us are. She always compared us to other families, and she didn't taste our success before she left us. So I always find that it's such a pity that we never. She didn't have that like a good life that we can bring her out for good food, well looked after. Yeah. So how I wish that she could live in luxury, comfort when she was still around, when if I could be more successful then. But I was so busy with family that I also neglected her. So it is in my wildest dream that one day there's this Lee Yong Lan Foundation under her name that just create a legacy. So it's not so much about me. It's honoring my mother.
And what happens if you cannot achieve that?
I will achieve that.
I mean, when you particularly shared about how you didn't have that kind of support at home from your spouse, and that amidst all the busy schedule and stuff like that, and when you again shared about your mom, and you shared that you had a big family, and that kind you mentioned a few times about your period, your era of time whereby the ladies are expected of a certain role. Do you find yourself resembling what your mom had went through, bring up such a big family?
Kind of, yes. But what separates us is education and the people network that we have. My mom just cooped up in a small house, not exposed, no education, don't know what she's capable of. But I'm different. I go and meet people affirm me, and I know people who are very encouraging, good people. So I have the currency to achieve what I want to do. So likewise, I want to be that currency for other people, more importantly for my daughters as well, so that they can thrive. Because I feel that in today's landscape, it's getting harder and harder for young people. So I want to be there for them. And that's why I'm very big in coaching young professionals. Most of my courses are tailored for young people, because I feel that the climate that they are in today is very, very harsh. And I hope that my whatever trainings, workshops, talks that I could give them could help them with that mindset shift, that at least they have the courage to carry with them, the confidence with them, so that they can bounce back quickly.
I think through your efforts, you are already embodying that foundation that you actually mentioned.
Thank you.
It may not be a necessity for you to actually be or perhaps acquire that foundation, because you are already that foundation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot to me, Amir. Thank you so much.
I think it's also succeeding your mom's spirits and whatever she values, as well as empowering future entrepreneurs, especially lady entrepreneurs, in their entrepreneurship journey.
Yes. And yes, that's why when I see female entrepreneurs, I try to support them. And I always tell people, female support female. I know how tough it is. Yes.
And the camaraderie spirit amongst female entrepreneurs, I find that it's especially strong.
Yes. There's a lot of women support group, women
Yes,
empower group, but
that's
you
right.
don't see that for male.
Yeah. Maybe we should start one.
Yes, you should.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. So for male entrepreneurs, if you want to start that, or to conclude this episode, we would like to invite the audience to participate. Is there someone you think that we should interview, or that someone is you?
Yeah.
Please drop us an email.
Yes. Yes. So thank you, Adeline, for sharing with us about your journey and also what drives you to be a successful entrepreneur today. I think a lot of our listeners actually know and can learn a lot from
Thank you.
how you actually navigate through your entrepreneurship journey.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
So,
Neil.
with that, this is Ground Zero Stories. See you in the next 10 minutes.
Thank you.